All right. So you know what? Normally I can say like I'm here with so and so, but with you I can say I'm here with Loz, I'm here with Lauren, and then I sure as shit can't pronounce your surname correctly. So
Try
can
it.
you? Antonenko.
Antonenko. So I always say if you write it down and you just say it
Yeah.
and don't think about it, so it's Antonenko.
Antonenko. You know,
Antonenko.
Do you follow basketball at all?
No, but I know, and it's not Antonenko though. He's not Antonenko,
Giannis
but it's Giannis.
Yeah. And so it's spelt. It looks very similar from first observation.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And so where does that surname hail from?
So it's Ukrainian. I'm not Ukrainian. My first husband, that was his surname. And yes, I inherited that from him.
Okay.
So I am full-blown Aussie bogan, first generation Australian.
The best type.
Yeah, the best type.
The best type.
Come on.
So normally, like when I interview people, I'm like, "This is so and so. They're X, Y, Z."
Oh,
But
yeah.
I think with you, you're quite a unique individual. You've
Yes.
got lots of different, even just some of the stuff we were just chatting about downstairs. Then, like with your current business stuff like that. How would you describe if we met at a bar and you were introducing yourself? How would you introduce yourself to me?
What a bloody great question. I call myself a bit of a slasher because I'm a this/that, but I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur who has a specific interest in helping people realize that if they simplify their life, they can amplify their habits and actually live the life that they want. So I call myself a healthy habit coach. I also call myself a motivation maven and a mojo mentor.
Mojo mentor. I fucking love that. Let me write that down. And so would you, like, obviously right now a big part of what you're doing is in, the fitness space. That seems to be something more recent to you the last few years.
Yeah.
I know you're doing stuff with nutrition. Is kind of the fitness space where you're expressing all of this a lot right now?
Yeah, at the moment, I feel like the fitness space really fits where I'm at in my life. Like in the fitness space, I can express myself in a very energetic way. I teach things like Pilates, for example. Like I've been doing that for a very long time, but it's not like Pilates. People come to my classes having been to another Pilates class and they go, I want to stretch. Well, dude, it's like 80s dance music and dad jokes for an hour. Yeah. Like it's a really great way for me to express myself. And I think moving into the fitness space and bringing that vibrancy and that energy and really catapulting that to help people realize that fitness doesn't have to be boring or repetitious. It can be fun. It can be, you actually use a word and you call it edutainment. Yeah. A bit of an edutainer.
100%. Yeah.
So thank you for that. I wrote that down.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fitness space is a great place for that to be expressed. And I think that becomes a really great gateway for other people to start exploring things. Because when people want to start changing their life, the first thing they do is they go and get a gym membership or something, right? They look at fitness as a conduit and then, soon realize that maybe their life isn't going where they want it to go. And then they start to unpack and go, shit, actually it's my mindset, it's my nutrition, it's my sleep, it's my hydration. These are the things holding me back. But fitness as a starting point for me is a great place to meet people at.
Well, let's unpack that because I know, you've authored a book before. You've got another one on the way that you've mentioned coming out at the beginning of the year. Talk to us about what's in that book. I know you've got 5 key pillars. What are they and why are they your pillars?
So when we talk about people, what I find is that when people get stuck and they end up in what I call a SHITUATION, that's a term I've coined, they tend to reach for these sort of grand sweeping magic silver bullet types of ways to solve their problems. So they do a 12-week challenge or they go to Tony Robbins and they walk on hot coals and they rah-rah for 4 days in 10 degrees. And the reality is that they overlook most of the time the fundamentals of the things they're already doing every single day, which is eating, breathing, sleeping, movement, and hydration. If we think about a car, okay, so when you want to park a car, put the handbrake on, right? Now, have you ever tried to drive a car with a handbrake on?
Yeah, it doesn't go very far.
Yeah, right. I have. And it flashes at you, it flashes lights, it has signals, and it gives you all these indicators. Hey, bro, the handbrake's on.
Warning.
Exactly. Yeah. But you can bypass that, you turn the music up or whatever, but it's not going to go very far. It's not going to get there very fast. And it's going to wear out quickly, and it's probably going to cost you a lot of money to fix. Yep. And so the thing is, though, when you finally remember to release that handbrake, all of a sudden you get this instantaneous momentum and you feel like you can go anywhere and do anything. And humans aren't that dissimilar to cars, Daine. Most of us are driving around with handbrakes on, one of those 5 habits or all of those 5 habits. I call them handbrake habits. And we're moving but barely and we're existing, we're not really living. And so the book encapsulates that and it talks about anecdotally like some of the situations I've been in from, sexual assault suicide of my first husband, a brain tumor, a hole in my heart. Like there's been a whole heap of things, autoimmune diseases.
Is that all?
Yeah, I know, right? Right. But it's like, but if I can get out of trouble, and you know, I did it the hard way. I fucked up heaps of times, but I call it failing forward and using it as feedback. So it's kind of anecdotal, the book. It's called Get the Fuck Unstuck, by the way, for those of you playing along at home.
Yeah.
And it talks about handbrake habits and gives people really clear BS-free tools to be able to get themselves unstuck effectively. And then we weave that through a framework that sort of applies to the rest of your life. So handbrake habits you do every day. And then I have a framework called the Healthy Habit Hierarchy. And it's a hierarchy of how you actually start to pull these things together. So when you get into a situation, you can get yourself the fuck unstuck. So that's what the book talks about. It's a pretty good read. It's very interactive and it's colourful.
I'm interested in particular in that, I think the second point you mentioned there about breath.
Yes.
That's something that I'm very kind of passionate about. I've kind of used breath work, meditation to really reset my life. Talk to me about why that's such an integral part of the book for you.
Okay, let's think about breathing. It's the first thing that we do when we are born. Our breath, we take a giant breath when we come out of that birth canal or however you've been born, and it's one of the last things that you do before you pass away. Most people, though, don't look at their breathing at all. They don't even think about it. Yet it is one of those underlying things that as soon as you can create some consciousness and go, oh my God, I've got some awareness about my breath, it is one of the most powerful tools you can use to not only change your psychology, but your physiology. So I am an advanced instructor in something called Oxygen Advantage, which is based on methods of Buteyko. There are lots of different breathwork systems that you can use. I mean, it's been popularized through people like Wim Hof.
Of course,
But, you know, I use breath in a very different way, and through Oxygen Advantage specifically, we do what's called hypoxic hypercapnic types of training. So we want to increase carbon dioxide in our body and decrease oxygen, because carbon dioxide is actually the mechanism that triggers us to breathe. And when we get a buildup of carbon dioxide, we have to try and breathe. So it retrains you to actually tolerate more carbon dioxide. And what I like about this, though, Daine, is that you can use this to relax. But you can also use it, in training. And so with all of my clients...
Because my head just went straight to like increasing VO2 max.
Yes, exactly. So when you can decrease your sensitivity to a buildup of carbon dioxide in your body, and you can learn to regulate and enhance your nitric
Increase
oxide.
Your lung capacity.
So there's so many benefits to it, and using things like breath hold. And so what I like about this as a particular breathing technique is that it's something that everybody can do. And the thing about breathing is that we're already doing it. So,
100%.
you know, why not make it something that's part of your everyday practice, even if you're just doing it in the daytime and practicing it at the nighttime by taping your lips and things like that. Retraining yourself to breathe effectively is one of the most life-changing things you can ever do. For me, I was a chronic mouth breather. I had terrible oral posture. Like I had braces when I was 10. I had gappy teeth, bucky smile. I've just gone through a 2-year jaw expansion. Very big biohack. I've just had a tongue tie done. As an adult, I had a tongue tie release. It was quite painful, but it has changed my life. Like I used to have chronic cluster headaches. Instantly gone when I got my tongue tie done.
My wife because I think like my wife, she actually had a lot of dental work done when she was younger. And, you know, she's gone back recently having some migraines and things like that. And one of the actual things that's come back is like breaking the jaw and kind of going down that process to open up, you know. But it's kind of something she's been hesitant to do, obviously, with the recovery.
I would speak to maybe I'll get a different opinion. So I didn't do it that way. I used a device. It's slower.
Okay.
But I see a functional dentist. There's not many of them around. In Queensland, where I'm from, there's only 2. So I've seen both, and I used a special device, and over a period of time, I expanded my jaw. So it takes longer. It's not instant, but it actually allows you to then...
It's better than getting your jaw broken.
Yeah, but plus also, like you think about neuroplasticity in your brain and the way that your mouth operates. Everything is connected through your vagus nerve. Like you go and do that in an instant, it's stressful on your body. If you do it slowly, you can then train your mouth and your tongue to sit better. You gain better oral posture, and then you're helping your body at a slower rate, so it's more organic. And I find if you can tolerate and be patient, I think you get much better outcomes 100%. For sure.
I'll definitely get the referral.
Talk about that off air.
All right, and so talk to me, like, you mentioned some of the stuff that you've kind of gone through in the past, and, you know, we were just talking about it downstairs before, like losing your husband to suicide when you were younger and things like that. Like, are these processes and mechanisms, this system that you've created, has it kind of come off the back end of that trauma, would you say?
Yeah, so it's a good question because I think, so I've always been very entrepreneurial. Like I started my first business at 15 at school.
Yep.
And I've always had it in me to sort of always come up with ideas. I'm always about solving problems. People would say that I'm quite masculine in the way that I think. I do struggle with like touchy-feely stuff. But definitely I think that those really catalytic points in my life where I experience significant shifts in the way I had to perceive where I was in the world and how the world ought to be, and then had those break and be destroyed and having to rebuild those definitely became points of change for me to refine myself rather than define myself. And I think some of us have it in us where we just question everything and we push through like bulldozers, and people call that resilience. You can call it whatever you want, but some people have it and some people don't. And I think for me, I would say that, and this is going to sound terrible, it's a trigger warning here, but my husband's suicide was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was just that as a pivotal point in my life. I think where I was and where I was going, I was lacking direction, I was lacking focus, everything was easy. As soon as that happened, like I questioned my entire existence. I had an existential crisis.
Oh, you would, 100%.
Right? It was 2 days after my 31st birthday.
Yeah, wow.
And I mean, I can remember it vividly, and, you know, from then and since then, I mean, I've had lots of things happen with my health and other things that have been beyond my control, but I've always allowed those to become events at which I can find, and I have to search for the silver linings. And I mean, even today, just fucking getting here, honestly, what a shit show. And then my bag isn't even here.
Yeah.
You know, it got left in Brisbane.
Yeah.
But
well, look, I'm not interviewing your bag, so it's all good.
100%.
Yeah.
But, you know, the reality is that shit happens, right? And I think once you come to the realization that shit is going to happen and you can't avoid shit and you can't avoid pain, you can't avoid suffering and you can't avoid uncertainty, you need to get the fuck on with your life and have a vision and be clear on that and refine that vision every single day, every single action, every single thought matters, and work towards that. And I think for me, moving into the health and well-being space has been part of that process, and all of those things have all just encapsulated me more fiercely to want more out of life.
But I think everything that you're saying, like, you know, it's a lot of what you're saying. Actually not a lot of it, all of it I agree with. It's unfortunately for society probably the opposite of where society's at.
Yeah.
You know, society doesn't encourage kind of resilience, doesn't encourage bouncing back from things, doesn't encourage you to stretch yourself and kind of go beyond where you're currently at to kind of level up and grow.
Yep.
You know, do you find that, like, in particular with your coaching business now, like, are you attracting people that are not just coming for the training, but they're coming for the expansion mentally?
Yeah. So it's interesting that you've asked that question, because where I positioned myself previously was, you know, as I said earlier, fitness is a conduit to other things.
Yeah.
Because fitness for people almost is external, like they don't have to think about things. They can just show up and be on a treadmill.
Well, it's a step one.
Right.
Like, if I want to get my life in order, I should probably train. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then when people start to build those foundations of habits in their life and they see that they're getting results, they go, fuck, if I can do this, like, what else am I capable of? So I've sort of pivoted my business more towards high performers and high achievers.
Okay.
So most people come to me knowing all well and good that fitness is a part of the conversation we're going to have, but most of it is about, you know, building that mental capacity and that mental resilience to start being able to move through challenges. So a lot of my clients that I work with, like I work with lawyers, accountants, lots of, you know, people that are busy, hard workers.
Yeah.
One of the first things we do is like, well, what can you change? What are you prepared to change? And, you know, we use fitness as that conduit, but most of the time, and this is why being a life coach is really important, we're just unpacking like this onion, layer upon layer, getting to the root of their problem, and all of a sudden everything starts to change for them. And I think when people realize that they are resilient, and I think resilience is such a fucking overused word. Like, you go into organizations, like I work with organizations, they go, oh, we've got to do resilience training. I'm like, fuck your resilience training. Like, that's just a tick and flick compliance thing. Like, we've got to be building this into our children, into the generations that come after us, and like make them, like, we are so fucking soft.
It's something my wife and I, like, it's funny, like, we'll have the grandparents over, right? It'll be a barbecue or something. And, like, you know, one of the kids will fall and scratch their knee. The grandparents are fucking up. They're sprinting. They're doing backflips on their fucking canes to get to these kids that have just had a scratch. My wife and I will just sit there.
Yep.
We'll sit there. We'll let them kind of scream. We'll let them try and self-regulate. And if they get to a point where it's that line as a parent, then we'll jump in. But it's kind of even just subtle things like that.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, I love my kids with all of my heart. I would do anything for them. But like, I don't want to train them up to be little bitches.
Right.
You know, and I think that's what society, unfortunately, at the moment is doing.
Yeah, and it's very normalised. And, you know, where I'm from...
and actually on that point, you actually see it. It was one thing with my interview with Jackson recently.
Yes.
Because he actually looked into resilience and looked at a lot of the research behind it. And kind of, I guess I figured this out myself intuitively as you have, but the direct correlation between trauma, resilience, bouts of adversity, and those who are successful and those who are living their best life. So
it's not a coincidence.
No, it's not, exactly. But you were saying.
I love that you've said that because I feel like when you look at people, so I've interviewed lots and lots of people around the world, successful people on their daily habits, and a lot of the stuff that we talk about is having to suffer, and that Dr. John Demartini talks about this at the it's support and challenge. At the corner of support and challenge becomes most growth. The problem is like people have so much support, but they never have fucking challenge.
Yeah.
People have so much challenge and they don't get support, so they never get to grow. And I was going to say, where I'm from, it's a small town outside of Brisbane. People are, I guess, I don't really fit in there. Like we have tall poppy syndrome, and in Australia, 100%. I find like it's massive. Such a big thing. Having travelled to all places around the world, it is a really big problem in our culture. And if you do stick out and you are, getting through things, I think differently, and you're attracting interest from other people, like people just are very quick to shut you down. But also, if you've got that inside of you and that ballsy kind of bulldozer approach, you just go, fuck, I don't care about you haters. Like, I don't care about unsolicited opinions from random people that I don't care about.
Yeah.
You can use that as leverage to help inspire other people who actually give a shit, who want to learn from you, to actually start to change things. And we had a conversation earlier, which was, if you've got the courage and the transparency and the authenticity to share your story and your pain and your suffering and your learnings with somebody else, it could become the permission slip to unlock something inside of them which maybe they hadn't had the capacity or the courage to share with someone else. And maybe they've been withholding that for forever. But I always say there's always a place, a space, a time and a face for you to share your challenges. It's just got to be the right timing. And when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
100%. And so talking about your business, because especially a lot of people listening right now might be trainers or might be in allied health industries. They might have been working in a brick and mortar type environment. They're wanting to go online. Obviously, you mentioned, your first 10 months of going online, you saw this rapid growth and continue to grow.
Yeah.
Like, what did you find outside of your entrepreneurial background? Like, what has contributed to that fast growth and actually being able to, like, literally go into a new thing straight away and within 10 months make a career out of it?
Alex Hormozi talks about operationalizing things.
Yep.
And I think that's really what the skill set was that I brought to, going into another industry. Because I work so pragmatically and I'm always about solving problems, like I have procedures for fucking everything. And it was interesting moving into the health and fitness space. Like it's a relationships industry, right? Like it's all about relationships. And I think a lot of PTs, they sort of get their cert for, and I think their clients are literally just going to hand them their wallet and be like, bang, 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 and I'm going to be an influencer and I'm going to fucking drive a Maserati and be a sponsored athlete, sponsored athlete.
Yeah, affiliate code.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you don't have systems, processes, if you are not doing sales, you're not creating leads, you're not creating relationships, and you don't have the things to back you up on the back end, like all of that's going to fall over. Especially in the fitness space, there's a lot of fucking excuses as to why people can't be compliant. Yeah. And I think having dealt in customer service and running like a retail mobility business, which is a really challenging space for a very long time, nearly 2 decades, it kind of prepped me to deal with every fucking bullshit excuse that there is on the planet and learn to have a solution for it. So when I first started, I was a PT on the floor and I did the grind, I was there in the trenches.
How long did you do that for?
So I actually started as a PT in 2020. It's funny. I was online already. Yeah. And then I got approached on Instagram by this person who was opening a gym at 300 meters from my house. Just a, it's just like a brand gym, like a franchise. I was like, okay, well, that's cool. I could just walk there. So I started working out of this gym and I was doing 120 sessions a week.
What?
Right? Like I was just dying. Like I burnt out, and I burnt out
like
before
half-hour
that.
sessions?
Yeah. And I was doing all these fucking freebies and like all of these PT packs and all this shit. And I was so tired, but I wanted to learn. Like I'm an all or nothing type A personality. ADHD is my superpower. I actually have that on earrings, and I was going to wear those today. But
let's see the
what are these ones?
These are calm your tits, Karen. I love
calm
that.
Your tits, Karen.
I love that.
My friend bought me these. She's like, these are you. And yeah, I just can't wear them around Karens. But I think for me, like being in the trenches, I just wanted to learn. I wanted to experience and smell and feel and taste what it was like to actually be a PT and work.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, fuck this shit. This is so unsustainable. And then I started hiring coaches and I started systemizing things. So I realized like, okay, Gen Pop, they have all these specific outcomes. They want to grow, girls want to grow booties, guys want to go to the beach, you know, people want to look good. So I started developing programs that would suit those outcomes. And I'm a very outcomes-based coach. And I started basically putting those into practice, selling them off, off the shelf to people, and then bringing in coaches to start taking over some of those programs, and a lot of those coaching sessions are then delegated. So I have 3 parts of my business now. I have a weight loss coaching sub-brand, a physical coaching sub-brand, and then I have like a high-end sub-brand. So the
physical coaching is still working out of a gym?
Yes. So my goal at the moment, I've got a coach training program that I've been developing, which helps coaches basically become healthy habit coaches, teaching their clients about habits. Once people have completed that program, so it hasn't gone to market yet, but then they'll be able to actually become a Loz life coach. That's my brand. Okay. And they'll be able to work all around Australia as like a Loz life coach and have a license to do that.
Awesome.
So that's my sort of my scale for that part of my business. I love working with clients, but I'm really specific about who I want to work with. I want to work with high achievers because I understand the nuances of that.
Yeah.
Because, when you have a business to run, like you don't want to prioritize yourself like half the time.
You're going through a divestment of one of your other an exit of one of your other businesses now. So
100%, and it's I have that innate understanding of what that feels like, and you will prioritize income generating activities if you are not skilled or knowledgeable about why your physical health matters. You will prioritize income generating activities over everything. You'll forfeit sleep. You won't eat well. 100%. You won't train, and so it's teaching those people actually. Simplify to amplify. Like it doesn't have to be fucking hard. Half my clients have stand-up desks now and walking pads. They're walking 12Ks a day in their office.
Yeah, wow.
Shit like that, right? Like that's
they're just
that's
simple,
what I do.
like
simple
practical,
hacks.
logical, but most people aren't thinking about it.
Right, but that's that pragmatic brain of mine. Yeah. So, that's kind of where I want to spend most of my time in my business now. But the other parts of my business, I'm like kind of bringing in coaches now so that they understand the IP that matters and they're now doing that work for me. So, yeah, it's a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
So I'm a couple of years into that now.
Yeah.
And I'm 40 minus 1 soon. So I've given myself to 40 to basically get that sorted.
And that's interesting hearing about all the different kind of like service types. Like how have you, like what's been your philosophy around packaging a solution? Like if I was coming into your business, like what type of solutions are you offering?
As a client?
Yeah. Like, because I think one of the areas that most people in any service-based industry kind of struggle with is like, I have a solution or the parts of a solution, but how do I actually put this in the right packaging so the demographic that needs this solution, it actually appeals to them and they're bought into it without me even really having to sell it?
I think working in retail helped me create better offers pretty easily. So the way that I position my offers is that I've realised, having worked in the trenches for a bit and going, okay, well, this is what people want and this is their biggest barrier to entry. It was like, what are the biggest pain points of gyms? What are the biggest pain points of clients? And what are the biggest pain points of trainers? That was the reason that I was doing 120 sessions a week. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I need quantity. I need to get quantity of time on the floor to learn all of those things and get it right. So the first point of entry is that a lot of people don't want to do the work and they just want a quick fix. And
they just want to, in particular, we coaches in particular, go straight online.
Yep, 100%. Yep. And clients aren't that dissimilar. Like clients want quick fixes. I mean, this is why bariatric surgery has gone through the roof these 100%. Days and things like weight loss, Ozempic and other things that we can't talk about. But I realise that, one solution for a lot of people is they don't want to join a gym. They just want to lose weight. And people aren't Googling, how do I create sustainable habits for, a happy, healthy life? People are Googling, how do I lose 20 kilos in 5 fucking days?
Yeah.
Right? So I have an offer and it's called, this is play on words, it's called Weight-LOZ. So I have Loz Life and under Loz Life I have 3 sub-brands. So the first sub-brand is Weight-LOZ, and Weight-LOZ is specifically designed at people who want to lose weight That's their focus. And they don't understand things about body composition, blah, 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 blah. All they're focused on is a number and a scale. And the point of what we do is to educate them on all that stuff, give them fish, but also teach them how to fish. So get them to lose weight, but teach them why they gained weight in the first place and how they can lose body fat. It's all through nutritional modification, pretty much, and habits. So that's my first part of the program. And that's a gateway for a lot of people. What will happen is most people will enter that offer who never wanted to train. They never wanted to do anything with exercise or breathing or whatever. All they want to do is lose weight. But I guarantee you after 12 weeks of that program, they'll be like, fuck, I feel so good. I have so much energy. I think I want to do something with it. I want to join a gym. And so then there's another program. So it's an ascension model. And so the next program is called Weight-LOZ. So Weight-LOZ, and then I have Fabulous.
Yeah.
So Fabulous is about feeling fabulous, looking fabulous. We mainly focus on mindset, mental fitness, and physical fitness. We talk about breathing. We talk about posture. I love that you use
mental fitness. Because,
mental fitness is huge.
Yeah, people use mental health. I'm like, mental health to me is a label that you can't change. Mental fitness implies to me through its definition that I can train it just like a body part.
Yeah, it's neuroplasticity, right? Like we can all change the way that we think. So we educate people and we give them programs and it's outcomes based, but it's accountability based as well. And then people are starting to feel good. They're starting to change their body composition. And then we have a third program, which is called Boss-Loz.
I was wondering what it was going to be. I like that one.
So Boss-Loz.
I think that's the best one so far.
Yeah. So Boss-Loz is for, people that, they're not needing to lose weight specifically. They're not necessarily needing to get fit. They want a little bit of all of it. But their main priority is that they are very busy, productive people with a mission.
Sharpen the sword.
100%. So it's a high achievers program. So I do have clients that move from Weight-LOZ to Fabulous to Boss-Loz. I have some clients that jump in straight at Boss-Loz because they run multiple businesses and they need that really tailored coaching that's going to fit in with their life.
And so just on that model, if you don't mind me asking.
Sure.
It's great, by the way.
Thank you.
On the initial, Weight-LOZ, so are you servicing those clients anymore or is that your coaches?
My coaches do that.
Yeah. And then Fabulous?
Yeah, some clients.
Yeah.
At the moment, I've had a bit of a transition. I am exiting a business at the moment, so I'm still enjoying sort of coaching clients. But once my coaching program is up and running for training coaches on healthy habits, the point of that is I will completely exit that business.
Yeah.
I'm very specific about who I service. I actually work with NDIS clients. I know that sounds really crazy, but I've come from the NDIS space with my other business and I really love working with those clients. But I am working currently with one-on-one clients in that space. The goal is though, over the next 2 years is completely exit that and then completely subcontract that out.
So this is like initial stages like group, semi-private, one-to-one?
Yeah, so it's all one-to-one in the gym.
Okay.
I don't do semi-privates. I'm a one-to-one coach because with the types of clients that I work with, especially in the Boss-Loz space as well, like it's like people don't want to share their shit. And I've got clients that are really well known that have profiles. I've got politicians. I mean, they don't want people knowing their fucking stuff.
No.
So I'm definitely a one-to-one coach, and I tried the one-to-many and the semi-private stuff. It doesn't really work for me, but once I bring in those coaches, those Loz Life coaches, they are going to be starting to do those semi-private sessions as well. Because once again, I mean, it's better for your business, I think, if you can offer both. But yeah, that's kind of how I've split my offers up. And
I love it.
That's just come from being in retail and, you need to have multiple sources of income. Like we do sales services in hire of mobility products, right? And when sales are down, sometimes servicing's up. And so I think in business, when you want to become successful, you've still got to diversify your offer. And people are like, you just need your niche. And, people are like the riches are in the niches or, it's American. But the reality is I think if you understand your niche, but then you can also create these other sub brands, which if you're not having to work on them can run themselves as separate businesses. I think that's the way that you can find success and leverage your time, money, expertise to get the results you want and impact the most people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of like, this has already been powered by you, the personal brand. Like when did you kind of, start to kind of leverage social?
Yeah, socials have been interesting for me. So socials for me really hit up when I was doing bikini competitions.
Okay.
So I did bikini, type A personality.
Yeah.
I stepped on stage 13 times in 14 months.
Okay.
Which is stupid. Developed disordered eating and all sorts of fun things. But that for me became the catalyst for socials.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially on Instagram because, I'm not going to lie, tits and ass shots sell.
100%. Hey, the original Clean Health was built off sex cells.
Fuck yeah.
100%.
And I'm all for that. And, I think that just recognizing that that's just how the world was back then is fine. And I'm 100% transparent about that.
Yeah.
So at the moment, socials for me I've been pivoting on socials. I'm moving more to, it's really weird, but Facebook and LinkedIn for me are huge.
I was going to one thing I didn't touch on the Ascension model and the clients that you got there.
Yeah.
Like what demographic are we looking at? Like what age range? We didn't kind of touch on that.
In each sub-brand there are slightly different, psychographics and demographics to each. So with the Weight-LOZ brand, it is very Gen Pop. Like it's 18 to 65. It's people that are struggling to feel good. It's very, very, very broad, and it's a very low barrier to entry. It's a very low ticket offer because it's broad.
Think Biggest Loser.
100%, right? Takes you back. And then Fabulous is a little bit more specific. It's going to be geographically targeted to some degree for some clients because some clients do want that face-to-face interaction. It's a subscription type of model, so clients will get a hybrid type of coaching, whether they see somebody in person or they're mobile or that they have 100% online. That's more targeted at your 35 to 65-year-olds.
Okay.
But then we do have a very specific service that's for NDIS because I'm NDIS provider. I'm registered with NDIS. Okay. But then the Boss-Loz stuff, it's completely separate niche. It's very psychographically linked. So it's going to be people that are, it's mainly LinkedIn, to be fair.
Yeah, I was going to say, because and that's why I asked, because Facebook, LinkedIn, 35 and over.
Yes.
I was speaking with someone about this yesterday. I find if I have a chat with, say, a coach that's 25 and under or even 30 and under, it's TikTok and Insta.
Yeah.
But once we start getting into our 30s, it's it's really Facebook and LinkedIn with a little bit of Instagram because, you still want to have your presence there.
Yeah, and I find that every channel serves a different market. So I find with Weight-LOZ, Facebook works really well for some reason because it's very, people asking, where can I find a weight loss coach? In little groups, because you can go into groups on that.
Yeah.
And you can create community. I find that with the Fabulous stuff, because it's very visual, it's like before and after shots. Instagram, you can do videos on TikTok, you can do viral shit. Even Pinterest, believe it or not, works really well. So when I do motivational quotes or recipes and stuff like that, there was a stage I was getting 26,000 unique visitors a month just to Pinterest, downloading my shit.
Oh, wow.
Random as. But then LinkedIn is really that pivot for that higher end stuff because it's high ticket. Boss-Loz is it's high ticket, but it's an investment of time and money for a very specific outcome. And I'm the kind of coach that's more of a consultant. I just come in and I help you get your outcome and no, fuck off. I'm not the kind of person that's going to be you got to sign up for me for 3 years and shit. I'm dude, if you're good at what you do, you want to fucking hold your client's hand and then get that grip to release and then just be high-fiving them, man. And when they're ready to come back, they can come back. But that's really LinkedIn is the space that I'm trying to play in at the moment. And, other types of mediums I have a radio show. Okay. I was writing for some newspapers, YouTube, I think, is a really good place as well for that stuff. Because it's giving that value and adding that content in for people so that they feel like they're getting to know, like, and trust you. Because that's the biggest thing in that market. It is a very red ocean.
Do you, how much of your week is spent in the content space, either creating, planning, or doing content now?
It's just weaved into my whole day now. It consumes quite a lot of time, but I really love it. And I'm always looking at new ways to, spice things up. So I've had a little bit of a hiatus. I was really sick at the end of last year and I was just I just can't even social anything. But I have people in my back end, I have virtual assistants and stuff who keep that stuff going. I would say, probably 60% of my time is spent doing that, but I love it. I love doing stuff and making stuff, and people love to see my life because it's a very unusual one. Because on the weekends I hang out in a band with my husband. So super random. But I think people love to be that fly on the wall because I do live a very odd life. So I think on socials that does translate very well. And it's that know, like, and trust factor, right?
100%.
If people are going to spend money with you and be invested in what it is that you have to say and how you're going to serve them, they actually have to trust you, and if they're seeing you and they're understanding and they're hearing you speak, that's just building and building and building. And the more little signals you can get out there in the stratosphere and on the internet, the better.
Where do you go to these days to do your own learning?
I go everywhere. I went through a bit of a phase where I was just addicted to learning, and I go in and out of those phases all the time. Podcasts are my go-to. I was doing a lot of commuting, so I just pick things up, right? Like I can hear something once and just remember weird facts and figures, but you know, I'm on the spectrum. So podcasts for me, definitely, but I've actually just started studying to become a master nutritionist, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
Shameless plug for you.
I know. Well, that's how we met. How did we meet?
Yeah. Oh my God, how random, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen this ad for this newish program because look, it's been on my radar for a while, Daine. Like I've always felt like there's a bit of a knowledge gap, and I know a lot about nutrition, but as a PT, and I'm an accredited personal trainer with Oz Active, so like I hold myself to a very high standard, and I can't be outside my scope of practice legally. Yeah. You can't as a PT, but even as an accredited PT, there's not many of us. No. Even more so. And I was like, fuck, I really want to do nutrition, and I was looking at going back to uni. I'm like, it's
kind of look. It's why you know. I think I've spoken to you about it, but it's why we kind of it's why Vast originally created the program, and kind of why we ended up acquiring the business and integrating our systems and processes into it, because it was like we actually looked at doing what they did a few 5-6 years back, because my background's in sports science and nutrition. Right. So I was accredited and insured in both when I was practicing as a PT. So like when people would come in, it was always lifestyle nutrition training. And it was lifestyle nutrition first and foremost, mindset, before we even got into the gym.
100%.
Right? Before we even got into the gym, it's like, Daine, I want you to smash me. Yeah, I will after we've done this. Yes. Right? And so I think they kind of saw a gap in the market originally, Vast, where it was the traditional model, 3 or 4 years at uni, $100,000, end-stage disease care, kind of goes against everything that most people getting into personal training or fitness are for. So it's like the nutritionist qualification was built to kind of solve that gap. Yeah. And it was actually built more specifically for PTs that want to optimize body comp, longevity, fat loss, performance, mental acuity, all of it.
Well, and that's why it was appealing to me, because I saw it advertised. I'm like, actually, this looks doable for someone like me, because I run multiple businesses. I'm busy, It's like, how do I fit something like this into my schedule? It's online. And I thought, fuck it, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, booking a call.
So I booked in this call. And it's been scheduled with Lauren. Yeah. Didn't know who Lauren was. Yeah. I know who she is now. Yeah. It's been scheduled with Lauren, and then there's been a change, and then, blah, blah, blah. And then I had this call scheduled with Dean. D-E-A-N, with Dean. So I end up on this call with Dean, right? Yeah. And I'm thinking... And so I'm asking all these questions about this course, and I'm thinking...
And he's just going fucking bang!
Fuck, like, where the hell are they getting their salespeople from? Because these guys are amazing, and I need to know. I need salespeople like this. Like, you well, I didn't know it was fucking you, did I? Yeah. I'm thinking, this Dean guy, he's a top-notch fucking sales guy.
And you were giving it to me too. Like, you're asking me all these questions.
I'm annoying.
I think after about 10 minutes, I'm thinking to myself, like, fuck, this chick is just trying to fucking give it to me, isn't she? Yeah. I'm like, lucky it's me doing it. She would have destroyed one of my other sales agents. Right?
Well, now I know in hindsight. So then...
She would have fucking ate them up.
I've signed up to this thing, and then I've got this text back. It's like, also... just letting you know, it's actually Daine. And I'm like, for fuck's sake. And I thought that was fantastic though, because, and it shows me just to step up as a business person, you step in sometimes and you just do random things, it just shows the strength of your character, because a lot of people would be like, oh no, fuck, I'm not doing that. I'm going to delegate the fuck out of that. And it's like, sometimes you just get in there.
That's what I tell people, I think people sometimes confuse CEO with, I'm the chief executive officer of delegating, right? And it's like
CEOD.
Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you need to. If there are certain tasks and things in your agenda, then you shouldn't do them. But for me, I think if it's a founder-led business where you've gone and created the business, generally speaking, one thing, it's you're the person who at some point created the product, the brand, embody it in your heart, all that type of stuff.
Part of you's in it.
Yeah. So for me, sales and kind of being able to connect, I'll still do it a few times a week. I'll jump in on calls just to kind of meet the people that are coming through the challenges, because ultimately at the end of the day, when you're speaking on the front lines, you can actually pick up stuff that might not sometimes get back through to you through the channel, especially as you grow and you've got a bigger team in business. So for me, I find it a really good kind of thing to do, just a business hack that I do, where I can kind of get on the ground feedback. I can find out the pain points of the consumers. I can, kind of reinforce that we've got the problem to solve that, but then also give that kind of feedback back to the guys. And, I think, it was quite interesting doing your call, because I was like, far out. This chick knows her stuff. Like there would have been a few in our team that could handle it, but I think you would have, eaten a few up and spat them out.
Oh, yeah. And look, I can be a bit of an asshole sometimes, but the reality is it's just I question everything.
Yeah.
And, fist pump to that, man, because like you're a brother to another mother. Like I go in and I go to my mobility store a couple of times a week and I just sit there and for exactly the reasons that you said, which is why I was doing 120 hours a week at the gym, like it's getting in there and learning those things, because when you're on the front line, 100% nail on the head, like it doesn't always translate back to you. And when you're there in the moment and you're dealing with the challenges that somebody has or the questions, it actually helps you reformulate things in your head and go, fuck, okay, like there's a new way to do that. And then you can actually enhance and take that feedback straight to the top and go, okay, like we're going to change the system or amend something here. And I think that is such an important part of business. And I think a lot of people, when they go, I'm going to start a business, what it's like. In fact, all they think about is their colour scheme and their business card and their logo.
Yeah.
They don't think about any of this shit. And they think they can step out of everything as a CEO and just delegate the fuck out of things. And at the end of the day, like, it's still part of you.
Yeah.
Like, you are impregnated, for lack of a better word, in that business. And it is a part of your heart, your soul, your passion, your mission. And it's a reflection of you. And you take shit personally.
And it's why, like, in a lot of businesses, when they get sold, as you know, kind of going through it with your other one, like the founder or the CEO will stay on in a transitionary period with the new owners, because, like, they know that. They know they need to extract that out. They know that there's a unique kind of special sauce in that founder's brain that's not going to be in any manual. 100%.
And I think going through this as a business person for the first time, it's going to be interesting to see what that's like. I have all intentions of staying on, and you're right. I think it's that secret sauce when you've worked somewhere for so long and you've created it from nothing. There's a big part of you that sits in that business, and I think as a consultant to whoever buys, however it works out in the end, I think just realising that that's just what it takes is important. And I think when people start a business, they never think about their exit strategy.
No.
As well. And I think even as a personal trainer,
when I started,
we never do.
It wasn't about that.
But you've got to have like legacy plans. Like, what is this? Like, DeMartini talks about having you've got to think about what your vision is, and if you have a mission as big as your country, you need a vision as big as the world. And it's like you have to have a vision beyond your natural life. Yeah. What is this? And I love that you've done that with Clean Health and, all of the amazing and the little cool surprises that are coming up, because you've seen that and you've taken that and gone, okay, this is a thing that I created, but now it's this thing. And it can serve people on all these levels and like what you've done on a different scale to me, but it's like, okay, we've got this piece of the puzzle and this piece of the puzzle and this piece of the puzzle. We need all those pieces to come together to form the picture that will be the mission that serves people for beyond your natural life.
100%.
And that's scary to think about, but because you're only 40.
41.
Going on
42.
Soon. What?
Yeah, I know.
But it's I think there's so many things we could talk about, right?
What would you say to entrepreneurs out there right now that are kind of in that place where they're hearing your story right now, they're hearing that, like, in 2020, you said you were doing 120 sessions, 4 years later, online coaching business, team, different verticals, TED Talks, books, that's a lot just in that space over the last 4 years, not to mention everything that you've done previously. What advice would you give to someone that was kind of at the beginning in the 2020 for you to kind of fast track them going from 2020 to 2024?
Fail fast.
Yeah.
Fail fast and don't be scared. Mm-hmm. I think we are so risk averse, and I think we cultivate that here in Australia. Like, it's all about like not standing out and not failing.
Not staying at the crown.
Yeah, 100%, right? Yeah. But the reality is the faster you can fail, and then if you can reframe that as feedback, as soon as you can, you're going to learn a fucking shit ton. My husband loves that metric. He hates that metric so much. Fuck ton and shit ton. But you will learn a shit ton about your character and your strength. And I think you need to give yourself credit because you are so much bigger than your body gives you credit for. That's a John Mayer lyric. Mm-hmm. I'm bigger than my body gives me credit for. And a lot of the time we get so caught up in playing small because it's comfortable and it saves space and, it's all for the gram.
Yeah.
But like your life, right? Like you die once, but you live every day. Don't be scared to try shit that's hard.
And it comes and fucking goes.
It does come and go. And, know that just because stuff's hard right now, it's so transient. And in 5 years' time, this moment that you are obsessing over will become this other beautiful, magical thing. And you have the capacity to do anything you want, but you have to take action. There were like 5 fucking tips in that. But
look, they're all great, but the take action part, that's a massive thing. It's, people get so caught up in the concept, the business card, the brand, the look, the feel. I don't even have a business card.
Right.
It's like, and sometimes the team, they're like, fuck, that's a lot. Like we're going through another acquisition at the moment, just after doing another one with an even bigger brand. And, within a year, we would have consolidated 80% of the Australasian fitness education scene under one umbrella, like one foul swoop, bang. And so although the team believes in the vision, a lot of them there's a lot to take on in this period of time, not feeling as though it can be handled. But I'm like, it can be. We're all capable of much more. Will it be stressful at times? Yes. Will there be long days? Yes. But we have the opportunity right now to accomplish 5-10 years of growth in 12 months. Yeah, so I'd rather kind of work my ass off to do that, accomplish that. It doesn't mean that after we've done that, we stop and go back to being slow and steady wins the race, but give it a crack and see what you're capable of. And I think that's the, give it a crack and see what you're capable of.
Yes, because you've got nothing to lose, right? Yeah. What if you fall, but what if you fucking fly? And take the action, do the fucking work. You don't have to be the hardest worker in the room. You just have to fucking work. And stop shooting all over yourself because you're making a fucking mess.
Yeah. Well, on that point, making a mess, could take that so many ways. What's the next kind of 12 months, hold in store for you?
My life changes on a weekly basis. Yeah. It's so interesting.
Let's just say the rest of 2024. It gives us about 10 months.
Yeah, so this year I have a new book coming out. I have a TED Talk, which I'm currently in the process of trying to re-land.
Yep.
But my biggest goal this year is to really crack it on the speaking circuit.
Yep.
And I guess solidify my place in that to spread the word and the mission. That sounds so religious, doesn't it? Fuck's sake.
You've only had 2 hours sleep. It's all good.
Oh my God. But just to spread my mission that, life doesn't have to be hard. And I think the more people I can impact this year, this year is a year of impact for me. And this is the year where I will find my feet as an expert.
I can see that.
As a goat.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I've been in the fitness industry for 23 years now. I'm 100% a goat.
Yeah.
And I can kind of see other goats there, and you're definitely on the precipice of that.
But I'm a goat. When I was in Harajuku last week, there was a goat walking through Harajuku in the mall, and it was white with pink feet. I'm that goat.
Fucking hilarious.
I'm that goat.
Yeah, you are that goat. Well, on that note, where can people find out more about you?
So you can find me anywhere on socials. So it's at Loz Antonenko, and you say it and spell it the same way, Antonenko. But you can also look at Loz Life. So my website's going through a massive overhaul at the moment.
Okay.
But lozantonenko.com, lozlife.com. Anywhere where you like to listen to podcasts, you can find me there. Any bookstores, you'll find my book there too.
Love it. Thank you so much, Loz. Appreciate you.
Wrong knuckle. Don't go too hard. Don't go too hard.
Thank you.
Split your fingers.